Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. This is Need for Speed Payback, the Xbox One X version. I'm recording this in 4K with my GoPro camera, and the reason I'm showing you this level is because it's highly detailed. Like the draw distance here, it's highly detailed. Volumetric light, it's very active. And the texture is pretty good as well. So that's the reason why I'm showing you this. Now this thing doesn't have HDR. It's kind of sad that it doesn't have HDR, but I can see EA in the future adding HDR here. Most likely. Now, if you never played this game, it's kind of like Forza Horizon, but just with a different, like, kind of a story to it, you know. It's not exactly like Forza Horizon, but it does have that same Forza Horizon open world feel to it, you know.
If only the house knew what goes on out here at Airfield 73. Would love to see the look on their faces.
And this thing runs in native 4K. I think I forgot to mention the main reason why it looks so great on the Xbox One X is because it has that native 4K. Now when you add native 4K with highly detailed textures, draw distance, volumetric light, and all of the above, well, this is what you get. You know, you get a really good looking racing game. And this is a third-party game. You know, it's really interesting. A lot of games, they're looking great on the Xbox One X. They're like mostly third-party games, and they look really great. And another thing I want to talk about here that's also very important. You know, there's been a lot of questions people have been asking me about which one's better, Samsung KS8000 or QLED versus OLED. Here's the thing. As you all know, I had 3 generations of OLED televisions from LG. Alright? B6, C6, C7, I had them all. All 3 generations. I had them. All 3 different types of models. And I know exactly how OLED looks inside out. I know how it performs. And I know how it looks next to a very lit up room with a television that has more higher peak brightness and wider color gamut. And when you put both of them side by side, when you put OLED next to QLED, it's a drastic difference in terms of vibrant colors and vibrant peak brightness of detail on HDR, meaning that everything will pop. Like right here you'll see that color of detail pop as it should. You're not gonna see this kind of color of detail pop in a lit up room from OLED. You will see it in like a dark room, like in a very dark room you will see that. Now, however, what OLED has, it's the fact that it doesn't have any backlit support. Therefore, there won't be any bending light, bleeding light. Nothing will be bleeding, all right? Every and each diode will individually represent that color. However, the one thing that's missing from OLED, it's that peak brightness, all right? And to me, in my opinion, that peak brightness and wide color gamut, it's very important for HDR. It's very necessary for HDR. Now, the problem with a lot of Samsung TVs, and they need to work on this, it's that from top to bottom edge lit that creates a bleeding light when you turn off the lights in your room. That's the one issue. That's the one problem with the Samsung. It's that bleeding light of edge lit. All right, and I wish that Samsung would get rid of that and just stick around with a full array of local dimming. But what I'm trying to say, I would rather sacrifice a little bit of that bleeding top to bottom edge lit light than to have a burn-ins on the OLEDs. Remember, you're paying a higher price for OLED, but you're also getting issues with such thing as burn-ins, diodes are dying, one of them, like, you know, there's too much risk with OLED. Longevity, how long your OLED's going to last, no one can guarantee you that. You're going to spend $3,000, $4,000 on a TV, but you don't know how long it's going to last you. So that's the kind of risk you're taking with OLED. All right? And it's not going to look great when you're dining with a bunch of people in a lit up living room. It's not going to look that great. Okay? QLED will look really great and vibrant because of that peak brightness of 2000 nits and full wide color gamut of quantum dot cells. So that's how I feel about, you know, OLED and QLED. And remember, this is coming from a guy that actually tested OLED, all 3 generations, and tested Samsung KS8000 and had also tested a QLED in Magnolia. So I know pretty much the difference between the two. Now, if you love OLED, if that's your shtick, hey, that is fine. If you're happy with it, that is fine. But you have to remember, HDR thrives on that peak brightness and full wide color gamut. Dolby Vision thrives on that super high peak brightness of 4,000 to 10,000 nits with full wide color gamut of 12-bit color. Okay? So, I don't think OLED will be able to reach that kind of peak brightness unless they can figure out some kind of micro OLEDs. Actually, there's a new thing coming out. I forgot to mention, guys. Forget about the OLED. Forget about the QLED. There's a new technology that they're working on. It's called micro LEDs. Micro LEDs, little tiny, you can put like trillions of them on a big giant screen TV, and they should be able to reproduce like the best possible clarity, detail, and peak brightness with super rich colors. They're working on this, and I think the iPhone X, it's working, the new iPhone version of the iPhone X, they're working on using those micro LED cells. I don't know too much about this. It's just a rumor, so don't take it for granted. It's just a rumor that I heard. Okay? So there you go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, you know, like I said, if you love, listen, if you love OLED, that's fine, dude. OLED is fine. But to me personally, I need to have that peak brightness, man. That peak brightness is very important to me personally. And you can see that on this game. You can see why I prefer that peak brightness and full wide color gamut. Alright guys, so hopefully you enjoy this video. Enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend, and happy holidays. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys on whatever my next video is. I don't know what it's going to be, but you'll just have to wait and see. So thank you for watching.